3, 2, 1.
All right.
Wahoo!
Mario Party 4.
I haven't played that. Hello, we're back. Welcome to Happy Easter. This is like our Easter special, I guess, since we're recording this the day before Easter. So why not celebrate it by watching our good old pals, the Super Mario Brothers. So
this is our fantastic Easter special.
Yeah, we watched every Mario movie. Before you say, there's more than one Mario movie. There's the infamous live action one, and there's this old anime 2D one, which and including the new released by Illumination. It finally came out. The new Illumination Mario movie came out. We saw it like 2 days ago in theaters, which we usually don't do with Illumination movies, but we made an exception this time, right?
Because the thing is, if you've been following along with this podcast, or if you know us personally, you know that we've been like tracking the development of this movie for years, ever since that direct in September of 2021 when the casting was revealed, and then the year after we got
trailer,
the trailer after that, and now it's finally out. People are watching it.
It came from people thinking that the film was gonna be awful by the weird, bizarre casting choices, to now a lot of people liking it, but also disliking it. It's been pretty divisive, to say the least. But
it's kind of a complicated situation.
These are all interesting, fascinating films, and I think they're going to make for an interesting discussion. That we like Mario. We like
Mario's great.
Mario's great. We could talk more about the games themselves in the past. Who knows? Maybe we could do an episode on the 3D All Stars collection at some point, something like that.
Ooh, maybe that could be fun.
That could be fun, but like we said, we don't do games on this podcast often since those are much harder to arrange. And
we save it for our important games, like Sonic Forces. We bring out the big guns for the game episode.
The only game we've actually discussed on this podcast. So,
exactly.
Yeah, so I was pretty interested in watching this movie. In all of these movies, I spent the last 2 days watching all the Mario movies, and even rewatching one of them.
Yeah, so in the last 2 days, I've watched 3 Mario movies, and I basically. So, not to get into it too much, because we'll be talking about all 3.
Yep.
All 3 of these are very interesting adaptations, but they are not the same at all.
Yeah, and none of them are particularly good movies. Spoilers.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Okay, I think I'll start talking about it later, but I don't think Mario inherently works in film form well.
We mentioned that when we discussed the original teaser trailer when that came out. We discussed that, and I kind of still agree with that. And I think the new Mario movie basically did exactly what I thought they would did with the story. But I'm getting ahead of myself once again. It has such a simple idea. 2 brothers, Mario and Luigi, go to save a princess from an unlocked castle by an angry, evil turtle man, and sometimes a monkey, and sometimes other various enemies, depending on what game you're playing. It's very simple, and usually Mario games have passable stories. They're not amazing, but they work well and are serviceable and keep you engaged enough.
Because with most Mario games, except for some of the spin-offs, the early Paper Marios or Mario and Luigi or stuff like that. Mainly the RPGs now that I think about it, actually. But point is, those are the only ones that actually are able to do extra stuff of their stories.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's just the simple Bowser kidnaps Peach and then we move on. And and thing is, for me, I don't think that is inherently bad when it's a game. Sometimes with the new Super Mario Brothers games, I think it's a little annoying because all those games are basically the same and they all just have the same plot too, so it kind of showcases that more. But thing is, with most games, if it's something like Galaxy or 64 or anything, point is, most of the time Mario can deliver serviceable to really fun platforming And at the end of the day, that's all that really matters.
What
I don't need
matters with
much
the
more than
Mario
that.
world, but like I was interested, how would this translate to film? Eh,
Yeah, and that's like the thing.
like
You can't really have something that bare bones and translate it to film.
yeah,
And we'll get to that. But all three of these kind of try to do that in varying ways
yeah,
and
different
varying quality
ways.
levels. But we'll see.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and like sometimes the stories in Mario games could be like all right and work for what they are. Like Galaxy seemed to try with the story, and it ended up working well in its favor. And yeah, yeah, it's not an amazing story, but I think they actually tried to make like
Yeah,
emotion
they don't
out
have
of it.
like my favorite Mario stories, at least like I appreciate the ones where they add something like mild to it. You don't need anything big. Both Galaxy, it's technically Bowser kidnapping Peach, but then they have like the Galaxy thing and it's in space now. Bowser's gonna take over space and that's a whole thing. And then you
Uh-huh.
run into Rosalina and that causes a whole thing. That's like it's not a lot, but it's something.
Yeah.
And then you go over to like something like Odyssey. It's like yeah, it's a Bowser kidnaps Peach plot, but it involves all the Cap stuff, and that like that's something too. I appreciate the mild depth with it, but even then, I don't think you can make that into a movie still without it just being kind of bland
Uh-huh.
and not having much meat on its bones. Which spoilers, two of these movies don't
Yeah.
have a lot of meat on their bones, but actually, want to just get into the
Yeah.
first of the three? I
This
feel like we're
is
kind
the
of like
uh-huh.
establishing
Yeah, we're
things a
just kind of
lot. But
establishing. Anyways, this is the super campy cast bros, Anthony and Brian, and you know what? This is cheesy, but let's go into the first Mario movie.
all right, yeah,
Yeah, let's
yeah,
let's go into the very first one, the one that started it all. Which is
okay,
like probably the least known one because this
yeah,
like out
okay,
of this one out of all of them is probably the one that's
okay,
least a movie, and I
yeah,
think
all right,
that's what makes it work like decently well. It's called
okay,
just take a deep breath. It's called Super
okay, okay,
Mario Brothers Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach. That's what it's
yeah,
called.
okay,
It's like an anime type thing. Um,
yeah. I'm not sure the exact context by why this was made, but I know it's like an anime film from like the early yeah, 86. So to give a little bit of context, this would have come out right. I think the only Mario games that would have been out by this time would have been obviously Mario 1 for the NES and the arcade games like Donkey Kong Jr. and maybe Mario 2, but even then Mario 2 was like not what the other Mario games. It's not even a Mario game literally. From like there's the whole story about that. But point is I will give the 93 movie that we're going to talk about more flack for not following the games, but in this case I kind of have to like excuse the fact that they made stuff up cuz you have one 8-bit game to work off of that doesn't even communicate its story in game. It communicates it all through the instruction manual. So
yeah,
really all you have is an instruction manual and an 8-bit game with no plot to go off of.
yeah, I guess
And
they
so
don't
it's kind of
blame
why
a
I can
little.
excuse this making up a bunch of stuff. Like kind
Yeah.
of. All
Yeah,
right.
like in this,
But
Luigi and Mario aren't even plumbers in this. They're not.
yeah, they run like a
They
grocery
run
store.
like
That's
this
so weird.
random grocery store. Luigi isn't even donning his famous green. He's wearing blue.
And also, he's not even like his usual personality. Like he's not
He's just on
cowardly
the
or anything.
ride. He's just greedy. He's just really
Yeah, yeah, they
greedy.
make
He
him
just
really
really
greedy for
wants
some
money.
reason, which I kind of find funny,
Yeah,
but
it
that's
is
so
funny.
weird.
He doesn't even do much. He's just along for the ride while Mario is like, yeah, this film is very strange, but I think it almost like works in its favor because since it's such a short movie, only clocking in at about an hour long, it's like it's at the same time it's like I think that works well with such like a simple idea. So I don't mind
Yeah,
that.
no,
Like I think this works like
this movie does
almost.
flow by. I'll say that much.
I think like that
Like,
works well for a Mario movie. Because it's like it uses its simple premise and doesn't like do like try to like it's short and sweet is what I'm trying to say.
yeah, there's no fluff to this movie. Like, it just kind of happens.
Just happens.
The main thing I like about it is, I will say, it looks kind of cheap at points, but I do think the like 80s anime like animation and art style does give it like a nice look. I think it's a visually pleasing movie to look at. A
Sure.
lot of it, I
Also,
like
yeah,
that.
they
But
played a lot of them. Yeah, it's pretty
oh yeah, okay.
cheesy.
Oh yeah, I remember that. So some of the songs are like remixes, but other than they literally just play the music from the game.
Yeah, over and
Like
over and over and over again. It was very like I mean I understand that, but like they just like don't compose. It's just like I remember there was like 15 times in the movie when they kept playing da na 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 da na 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 over and
yeah,
over and over again. It was kind of funny. It was actually kind of funny.
and they
It
also
was
play that one like anime song during the walking scenes like 5 times. You know
Yeah, yeah. They
during the
just play
montage.
those montage. It's okay. So the plot of this movie is that one day while Mario playing just some epic, because he's a gamer in this movie, which is fitting. I'd say it's fitting. A princess
You can
just
make him a gamer. It's in character.
jumps out of the TV, just completely jumps out of the TV, and then like she ends up getting kidnapped by Bowser, and then Mario like thinks it's like a dream at first, but then like gets this like necklace or something, and then like they need to like go on this journey throughout the Mushroom Kingdom because like then they like track it somewhere, and then they
Yeah.
meet this wizard, and then they go on a journey to rescue the princess and like have to gain these three power ups in ordering to defeat Bowser and save the princess.
Yeah, it's weird. I okay, so I don't entirely get how that whole thing works. At first, it
Yeah,
just showed
like
they're in a video game, but then a pipe takes them there,
yeah,
which
just
I
this
don't under
random pipe
fully.
in like the
I don't
desert
get how
just
that
takes them to the
works.
Mushroom
Like,
Kingdom. And like I
and
thought it was like so what she just jumps out of the TV. They never explain that. Also, there's this really bizarre moment in the movie. And you know what? Spoilers, I guess. I'll just put that in the timestamps, but I highly doubt most people care. But
yeah, I
like
don't think for
this
this one, I
part
don't
where
think
like
anyone cares.
frickin'
But
Bowser just turns into a teddy bear, like he can physically morph his body to like turn into anything, and they just completely gloss over that.
wait,
That
that's
was
so
so weird.
weird because
That was so weird. He just becomes a teddy bear after Peach asks him to, and it just he turns into like random things and becomes a teddy bear. Then Peach traps him in a box, and then he just grows to normal size. Like what? What?
yeah, this
I'm
movie's
sorry.
kind of
What?
nonsense in parts. Like stuff just kind of happens, and it's entertaining, but I don't know.
Uh,
I just kind of appreciate how weird this movie is. Like it has such a weird vibe to it
yeah, the
in
ending is
terms of
also
like
pretty weird. Like apparently this random blue dog who I completely forgot his name. I don't even think he was in the Mario
I'm
games.
gonna be. I don't think he was given a name. He just kind of
He
comes
just
with
kind of
them.
comes with them on the journey, just kind of comes along on there. And then turns out he just like turns into this random prince who just like marries Princess Peach or something, even though it was
Yeah,
implied that
such a
like
weird ending because you think they're
Mario
setting up
and
the
Princess
usual
Peach would be
like
together,
yeah.
but like they just bring this
He,
random prince into the plot. Like, who is this guy? Why is the dog a prince? I have so many
I
questions, and
can't tell if
I,
that was meant to be like off-putting in like a funny way or if they just like didn't think that through or foreshadowed that because it's just a weird conclusion and then
yeah,
after that
it's so
Mario and
bizarre.
Luigi just leave
They just fucking
and
leave.
then
They go
that
back to their grocery stores and stuff like
yeah
that. I don't even think
over
they
the credits that's just them walking back
they're just
like,
walking back. They're just casually walking back, and they keep playing like the same montage like every time they're walking to a new destination. It
oh
doesn't
yeah
feel like a movie, and I think for the Super Mario Bros, it kind of nails like the cheesiness of the plot in like the best way because it's like dumb and cheesy, but I think it works in this way. You know?
yeah no I definitely enjoyed this movie like it's
Yeah, it's
really
short
like
and sweet.
stupid but it
It
has like I said it kind of has a charm to it and I can out of all these adaptations I can excuse this one having a story the least because
yeah.
frankly they didn't have much like I said they only had one game to really work off of so that's why they had to make up random stuff like that old guy and
Huh.
the dog who
Yeah.
becomes a prince later and then making up personality traits. Like that stuff's weird, but I can partially excuse it compared to like everything else. It's just such a distinct vibe for a movie like
Yeah.
this. And
Oh,
then like,
I also like how Bowser is just like this over exaggerated massive simp, which is like become
oh
a part
yeah,
of his character. Yeah, so I find that funny, and like to the point when
it's
he
funny
turns
because for
into
a
a
lot of the
dude.
movie, you can barely feel Bowser as like menacing. If
Yeah,
anything, he's kind of pleasant. Like you hear him, and he sounds so excited and everything.
he
Like
doesn't
I
act
don't.
like this. He doesn't sound like
You
this
kind of don't
evil
really
tyrant
take him as a
person.
threat, if I'm being honest. He kind of is
Yeah,
like he's lovable in this
yeah,
movie.
he's not
You
like
can't
a.
really.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We watched. Did you watch the Japanese dub? Like,
Okay,
because
I watched the Japanese dub because that
same.
was on YouTube, and I was curious
Yeah.
as to how it is. And also, that had like a nice 4K restoration of this movie and the YouTube upload, so I could see this in like nice ass quality, which
Oh.
was interesting. What did you watch the dub
Yeah,
or what did you
I
do?
watched Japanese dub. I was just wondering if you were like, yeah, the
Ah,
Japanese
okay, yeah.
version. Yeah,
I
I don't
want
even know if there
apparently like
is an English
apparently I
dub.
don't even think this movie has an official dub. It just there's a dub, but it was made by like fans who wanted to translate it
Oh, it's
over.
like a
So
is it like one of those Sonic fan dubs?
nah, okay, it's technically that, but like they're trying to do it earnestly, not like doing random shit with it.
Okay.
That could be funny, but I don't think they would
Yeah,
like
that would be funny to
convey.
do the same thing with Mario, but I bet you can't because I don't think Mario games have as much
To be fair, this movie is
cutscenes.
already kind of insane. I don't think you can make that many like
Yeah.
weird jokes
Yeah,
about
they
it.
go on
But
epic journeys throughout the Mushroom Kingdom. Like they end up getting Mario gets mistaken to the bird as a bird, and that just becomes one of their babies for that portion. That
yeah.
was pretty strange. There was also this part where Luigi eats mushrooms, which are literally like drugs that
Oh,
make you
that
feel
seems so
different
weird. They
emotions.
like okay. They just like make up different mushrooms. None of them are like actual game mushrooms. It's like the
Yeah.
mushroom or nothing like
It,
that. They make him feel different emotions for some
yeah,
reason.
there's
He has like
anger
split
mushrooms,
personality
sad
disorder for a bit.
mushrooms, happy
Was
mushrooms.
it was weird. Uh,
Yeah. There
but
was
yeah,
also
I don't
like
know.
these two Goombas
Such
that
a
try to like just troll Mario and Luigi by like leading them down the wrong path. And for some reason, like Mario and Luigi never get like, like suspicious about them. It was pretty
yeah,
weird.
that
And
was
they end
weird.
up like
Oh,
getting
also,
trapped in like a cave because Luigi is just so insanely greedy that it's hilarious.
yeah, also the random like things that like morph into the toads randomly. I
Oh yeah,
remember
that
that.
was
That's
weird.
we
Like they
it's
like
so
give them the power ups, and then there's these like random female toad things. It was weird. Like every location, there was something like that.
yeah, I don't know. It kind of caught me off guard, and they play the same music every time.
They play
It's
the
kind of
same
like
types of music like multiple times in this movie.
yeah, part of this movie is kind of repetitive, but like it ends before you can really get tired of it. Like I said, it's
Yeah.
like
It's
barely
short
over
and
an
sweet.
hour.
I
You
think that's
kind
what
of
makes this like work the best out of all the Mario
hmm
movies, which I think might be
yeah.
a hot take because I could understand someone maybe liking at least a new one more than this, but we'll get to that
Mm.
later. But like
Thing is,
this,
I can understand the appeals for all of these movies, even if some cases I don't agree. But
oh, yeah,
yeah, I don't know.
it's
Just
I don't even know if I have too much to say because it's such a short movie. I have probably the least passionate feelings about this one out of all of the Mario movies. I mean, this is like barely a movie. I mean, it has the runtime. It has like an hour long runtime. It's pretty short. It's really short. So, yeah. I mean,
um,
I would, yeah.
yeah, I don't think I have much more to say either. At
Oh,
least just thinking about it.
yeah.
One more thing. This is unrelated to the movie, but I think it's funny, so I'm gonna bring it up. Uh, when I was watching the credits for this, so the credits for this they play the same song that they're playing throughout the entire movie. I just had it on because I like that song. Even if I don't know if you paid attention to this, but when they like show what the lyrics to the song means when they do the montage, it's kind of nonsense. The song doesn't actually mean anything. It's kind
Really?
of just random sentences. I don't know if you noticed that when you were going through, but I remember
No.
that. I was like weird. But I remember at the very end, the 4K restoration for this movie was done by a Twitter account with the at femboy films. That's the last thing I want to
Oh,
mention. They just felt important.
oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, there's also like this
um,
random like Merlin wizard thing guy who just lives
yeah,
in the
that's what I
Mushroom
mean when they
Kingdom.
like make up stuff. That guy is
Yeah,
like
like who the
nowhere
hell
in
is
like the
that? Like they
first
have, I guess I
game.
don't blame them. I don't remember any other time that Mario and Luigi run some random grocery store.
No, that's definitely made up. There's nothing like
Yeah,
that.
and they had to
Which
make
I
up
mean,
this
to in
great.
fairness, like they probably still could have done the plumber thing since the original Mario Brothers arcade game that was before this, so they could have had that.
Yeah, I mean, I
But
think that works better than just being plumbers in Brooklyn. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
I don't know.
and it's funny because that like the dog is much more competent with the journey than like Luigi is, which is kind of funny.
Yeah,
Like,
Luigi in this movie is endlessly entertaining for me
yeah,
because
he's like a
he's really
completely
greedy
different.
for no reason,
Yeah,
and
he's
that's
not
his main
even.
personality trait. And that's really
Uh,
funny to me that they gave that to Luigi of all people
yeah,
for no reason. It's
he's
just
not even wearing like his green outfit. He's just wearing blue. Was that like a
yeah.
was
Which
did
I mean, the thing is, I'm not sure why that happened. That might have been like an animation error or something because like by this point in the original game and in the arcade games, he definitely had his green overalls and everything. So I don't
yeah that
understand where
yeah
the
that
I
does
don't know where
not
the
make much
blue and
sense.
yellow motif came from, but
Excuse me. Yeah,
hmm.
that was that. I wish we could say more, but like it's just kind of strange. It's like this journey of Mario and Luigi going across the Mushroom Kingdom, encountering various things like
Yeah,
mushrooms, birds. Like when they get mistaken for birds, I guess that was a bit weird. They encounter like a bunch of what was it? A bunch of like piranha plants and stuff like that. You know, it's like what you would expect from a Mario movie based off of like the first game because like there's barely anything to work off of. So you just had to make certain things up to just
yeah,
make this film like at least an hour long. So they had to
yeah.
make up
And
like
you see,
traits. Like I
yeah,
think the reason Luigi's so greedy is that like they didn't give him the personality of trait of him being like cowardly like he is in
yeah.
Luigi's
He
Mansion
isn't even
games.
like I doubt the goddamn instruction manual for Mario One gave him anything
Yeah,
there.
I highly
So I
doubt
doubt
that
he was
happened.
given like
They
much
had
to
to
work
make a
off of
movie
then.
based off of an
But
instruction manual, so about you would expect what you would expect from something like that. So I'm giving this
yeah,
a generous guilty pleasure. It's a guilty pleasure, I'd say. I'd give it like a 6 out of
yeah.
10.
Thing is, the reason I say that no Mario movie has ever truly worked is because even though I like this movie, I don't think as like an actual like
Movie.
film it's that good. I find it an entertaining movie. It's definitely an interesting movie, but as like an actual movie, it's kind of bare bones and stupid. I just like it. Just like
I mean,
if
you're
we're
not that
talking
wrong.
about it as like and that's kind of Mario's I don't want to say Mario's fault, but like I don't blame them, especially at the time they had nothing to work off of, so we kind of had to just do what they did. I'd give this a 6 too. And
Uh,
as you'll see in the film we're about to talk about,
mhm.
they didn't even try to do any of the adaptation stuff.
Yeah, and,
Just
and,
kind of,
and, and this time they had like sure there was still not a lot of source material to work off of, but there was more this time. So like I guess they just chose to do something completely bizarre and different. So let's move on
yeah.
to Super Mario Bros. 1993.
All right, now this is the big
The
one. So,
infamous. This was like the first theatrical like actual video game movie. There were some others before
I
that,
think so.
but
There's
I'm pretty
probably like
sure.
random examples before this,
But like I
but
think
this
this
is
is like
like,
the first like budget like live action theatrical release. And
yeah,
it
and
didn't do well at the box office since it released near Jurassic World,
oh,
and it had
oh
an insanely troubled production where let's just say people hated working on this movie and had no idea what the fuck
yeah,
they were
Bob
doing.
Hoskins notoriously, who plays Mario, hated working on this movie a
Yes, I think
lot.
same with
He was
John
supposedly,
Leguizamo who plays Luigi.
I'm pretty sure.
I think
I
they
don't
got
know if
like
anyone had
drunk on
fun
set
working.
just to
Yeah,
like
no, I heard about this. They like
they just got
infamously did not enjoy making it at all.
completely drunk on
But
set. That's how much they hated this movie. That they just like
yeah,
got drunk so they could like think about other
Hope,
things
I
instead of
guess.
hope. Yeah.
I don't know.
What is
Okay.
so if you're looking so if I showed you a random image of this movie, only like we're it would be only people who have seen the movie would say that these were Mario this was from a Super Mario Bros. Movie. Because it's barely anything like the source material. Unlike the original Super Mario Bros. Games, instead of Peach being the princess, it's Princess
Oh yeah, it's
Daisy.
Daisy. I
That
remember
was
that. That's
kind of
so
weird.
weird.
Like, why don't they
Like
do
I
that?
guess they did that because they give the romance plot to Luigi, and Luigi and Daisy are always
Luigi
paired
and
up.
Mario
I
don't
guess
even
that's
act
why they
like
did that,
brothers
but I
in
don't
this
know.
movie. They act
It's
more
kind
like
of weird. And Daisy herself isn't given anything that interesting.
yeah.
So
So
you kind of
spoilers for this insane dumb movie,
all right.
this
The
insane
thing I want
awful
to start
film.
with is sorry, yeah.
Go
Thing I'm
on.
gonna okay. So the thing I'm gonna start with is this movie. It perfectly establishes how insane the entire thing is in like the first like not even minute. See like so the logos happen, and then you see like you hear the 8-bit Mario theme. It goes ba 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 ba, and you're like, all right. You're like, okay, this is normal. You're fine so far. And then, like a second later, you cut to MS Paint looking animation, and then
Oh,
like
the
you see
freaking
that,
opening
and then you
animation.
get like the narrator talking about, oh, dinosaurs used to be on
Dinosaurs used to
Earth.
roam
Oh,
Brooklyn all those
yeah,
years ago.
yeah. And then they talk about like how the dinosaurs
By
died out, and they're like,
dinosaurs.
but what if there was a dinosaur dimension and then dinosaurs came back and like they talk about that. And then immediately after you cut to like a live action and then you cut to the live action stuff, which this whole movie's live action, but it's
Yeah.
jarring from the weird ass 2D opening. And then you like she like drops off like it's Mario and Luigi, I guess, and then they cut to like a church or something, and they like I don't
Yeah,
know.
when like
The whole
Daisy
opening
is
is
just like
so weird,
it's
and I
so
can't wrap
weird.
my head around it.
It's
It's
so
just
it's a really weird movie. Like it's there's so many weird ass decisions with the plot. So the plot is that when the meteor struck Earth, it like split the dimension into like two separate universes. Like there's one that is like the main one, and the other is like roamed by dinosaurs. So there's that,
yeah.
and there's also like stuff like I don't know, and then like Bowser, named King Koopa, played by Dennis Hopper. He needs like this meteor piece that Daisy has in ordering to merge both of their dimensions, so we can like I guess rule the world or something. I don't know, but like yeah, so Daisy gets kidnapped, and now Mario and Luigi need to go save her. And Mario and Luigi's like, you know, like they don't seem like brothers in this movie. They seem more like father and
They seem more
son.
like colleagues, honestly. They have like banter and stuff, but it's not like brotherly banter. You don't really
Yeah.
get like a good sense of their like bond throughout the entire thing. And I don't know. Bob Hoskins and Jacques Leguizamo don't do like an awful job, but you can kind of tell
Yeah.
that they didn't like being there when they did this.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so I have to give like one thing to this movie. It's just, it's really, really like bizarre. And frankly, I don't know how to feel about it enjoyment wise because I've
Uh-huh.
seen some people say that this is like ironically funny to them. And like, I get the
Some of it
appeal
is.
because this movie's like,
I mean,
like I said, this movie's insane and just kind of like all the choices in this movie I am like baffled by. And for me, I kind of get that, but I'm like, for me, it's too like, yeah, kind of baffling for me to actually get like enjoyment out of it fully. Some parts I kind of find ironically funny, but not like a full thing. I don't know. Do you like this movie? Ironically, I don't know
a
if
little bit. I'd say a little bit. Some parts were funny, but I could understand why some people would like just think it's unsettling and gross because a
Yeah,
lot of those
if you hate this movie, like I completely understand. That's
it's
like, if
awful,
anything,
really
that's
bad.
reasonable. But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Uh-huh. It's just like so weird to think this is like a Mario movie. Because like I said, I could understand that there wasn't much source material to work off of still, but like who had this weird ass interpretation?
Okay,
Like Toad in this movie, who is this like drunken guitarist guy who like he
yeah,
doesn't do anything in the plot, but he's like in like why? Why is the little mushroom guy like this guitarist who's just homeless and on the street? And like
yeah.
so
Don't
yeah.
even get me started on some of the designs, like the Goombas,
Oh god, that's terrifying.
Goomba
Like
design,
I can't tell if like I don't know. It's like
and
almost as terrifying as the original Sonic design. I swear. I don't
don't
know.
forget Bowser's lizard tongue.
Oh, that was
Remember
disgusting.
that?
That scene is just disgusting. And also, they give Bowser like this random like wife. I think they don't really establish the relationship between each of them well.
They didn't
And
really
like
have a dynamic at all.
she like
That just kind
rebels
of
and like starts to hate him or something, and then tries to merge the worlds herself, which ends up getting her killed. So like, bye bye. I mean, she wasn't even in the game, so they just made her up. Like, I don't
yeah.
know. And they also
The thing,
well, go on, go on.
yeah, so that's another thing that's like confusing about this movie to me is because obviously they still didn't have much to work off of, more than the
Uh-huh.
original '80s movie. But thing is, they pick the weirdest things to like adapt. Because like, okay, so you're not gonna like do the traditional game story, which I'm fine with because frankly, the original like games don't have much you can do into movies. That's why the '80s one and the Illumination one are really simple movies. So they just did whatever they wanted, and I'm like, okay, I can sort of understand that. But then when picking elements to adapt, it's weird. They do like out of all things, they okay, so they do Daisy, who at the time was only in Super Mario Land, weirdly
Yeah,
enough.
like
And
Daisy was
that's like
always like just a side princess.
yeah, she was only in one Game Boy game, and Daisy only really became prominent later because of Mario spin-offs,
Yeah,
because she was
she's
in
mainly in like
Party
other
and like
spin-offs.
Kart and Tennis, but none of those were even there like yet. And
Huh,
like,
that's
and
weird.
they don't do Peach either, which thing is at the time I don't think they even established that like Luigi and Daisy was like a dynamic because that was before any of the spin-offs and
Imagine
anything
this was the
like
movie that like
established that.
established them being in a
You know,
romance.
honestly, that might be true. This movie
Really?
might have like made that a thing
Oh
in the
wow.
Mario universe.
Yeah,
Not even like
also I think
just
this was
weird.
the movie that like established that Mario and Luigi's names are Mario and Luigi Mario.
Oh yeah, that's in Mario lore thing. They like keep that around.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't tell if you're supposed to take that scene seriously or not, or if that's like,
I
or if they
think
just
like
couldn't come up with actual last names. It's
everyone
so
who
weird.
worked on it and just Nintendo themselves just want to forget about this like mess of a movie because it was just such
Yeah,
like a
and
weird interpretation of the characters and world like that I just don't understand. Like it's a terrible adaptation, but as a movie, it's just weird and
yeah,
unsettling of how like
frankly, I am like baffled because this movie literally could never exist now. Not because it's gross or anything like that, but because Nintendo is so obsessed with keeping their like the images of their beloved franchises like clean. That's why Mario hasn't been it. That's why Mario never has story because they want to keep their like consistent like image of everything. And so Miyamoto would never let a Mario movie that's like this ever happen again. This is and frankly, I'm baffled that even happened the first time that it was just allowed to be made like this.
can you
Got off the
imagine if the
ground.
Sonic movie was like this? Imagine it could have
Okay,
been and they didn't
actually,
change
I
the
could because
design.
Sega just doesn't care.
Yeah,
They'll do whatever they want.
true. You're
But
right.
yeah, that's such a weird thing. Especially, I know it was the early '90s, but like so like different times, I guess. But even
Uh-huh.
still, just such an
Yeah.
interesting movie
Yeah.
to me.
Like I don't
It's like
know. It's just weird. Like There's also like these weird ass scenes at points, like the dance scene where Mario like
Oh, the
dances with
club
like
scene,
yeah, the
that was
club
weird.
scene dances with like this random like girl who's supposed to be like cheap, I think, from the
Yeah,
games.
they try to do
Like they
that,
bring
and
these random characters, random things from the games, and include them in the most bizarre and incomprehensible way you can think of. It's so dumb. Why is this a
the
thing?
one of the only things they get right is that like a bob bomb looks correct in
Yeah,
like
yeah, that
one
is the
scene
most like
quickly.
accurate thing. Like the bob bomb in the climax looks the most
Yeah,
accurate out of everything in this damn movie.
yeah. See, some people, this is like a minority, but I've seen some people say, "Oh, well, it's not good as an adaptation, but as a movie on its own, it's all right." And I'm like, no,
As a
no.
movie
The
on its
logic
own,
of this
it's
movie
just
like is still stupid, ignoring that. Like everything with like the alternate dimensions and how they're
like
supposed to like
doesn't make
merge, that
sense.
doesn't make any sense at
Yeah, they
all.
never
And
explain
like,
that in a way that even makes any remote sense. Like
yeah,
how would that work? Also, like there's this part where like Mario and Luigi are like told by Bowser's like henchmen, Iggy and Spike, which I think are supposed to be based off of like one of the Koopalings and Bowser
you know,
minions.
those are based on the Koopalings from Mario 3, except they just took the names of them and made them henchmen in
That's
this.
kind of weird. Okay, that
Yeah,
explains it more. But like, yeah, and then like they tell him that they like will trade Daisy for the rock, but like at the same the like meteor rock that's supposed to merge their two dimensions, and they're just like fine with giving them the rock, even though they like stated that Bowser would use it to like harm the world. Like they don't even like second guess about them. It's a pretty weird moment. Doesn't make much
yeah.
sense. Also, there's these really weird, uncomfortable. The funniest scene in the movie is like when they're in the elevator, and then they just make the Koopas like Goombas just dance awkwardly. That was like the funniest, ironic thing of the movie to me, which is so out of place and stupid.
No, for me, it's not even the actual scene. For me, the funniest thing, ironically, is that they try to set up like a cliffhanger for a
Oh
sequel,
yeah,
and
oh
then,
yeah,
and then that
that.
just never happened because this movie was a flop and they don't want
Uh,
to associate with this movie anymore. So that's never gonna happen
oh
ever.
yeah. They
Uh,
originally teased a sequel at the end where like Daisy comes back to their house and then she says like you weren't gonna believe this and then they never follow up upon that. But still, I
I
wonder
am
there's a
curious as to what they were planning, but I don't think I want that to actually happen. I just want to know what
yeah,
it
if
was.
this movie did well, then I don't even know if they would make a sequel regardless. Like, but they were confident enough to even remotely tease one, which was interesting to say the least.
Definitely an interesting
So there
decision
goes
on their
that
part.
franchise after this film, like underperformed, panned by critics, and is now like just a film that we don't like to talk about. And Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo just want to forget they were ever a
And
part of
plus,
it.
even if this movie did do well, I doubt either of them would want to come back to do another movie,
Yeah.
considering how much they
Uh-huh.
didn't enjoy this.
Yeah, there's
Like,
the dialogue is
doubt.
also very awkward and cheesy with a lot of the moments between Luigi and Daisy and just other moments as well that are just
None of
so
the
awkward.
characters have any form of like character chemistry. Even Mario and Luigi, who are supposed to be brothers, so you think they'd have more chemistry.
Yeah.
Their dialogue is also like awkward sometimes.
Uh-huh. Like they
And I
don't
don't know.
act like brothers. Like they oh yeah, they even say that Mario apparently raised Luigi, so they're not really even brothers. It's
They're
so weird.
God, they say something like
They
that.
say something
The
like
whole
during like
dialogue is just
that
weird.
like dinner scene, and Mario also has this like random girlfriend who is named not Princess Peach, which I'll just call her that.
And she's given like practically nothing
She's
throughout
just
the movie.
kidnapped by Bowser because he's like
She just kind of
just
tags
searching
along still.
to the for the
Personally, if
princess.
they were gonna have Daisy there anyway, and they were gonna do this, I understand why they have like, and
Yeah.
they could have just named that Peach too. That wouldn't make sense. But like by this movie's standards, what thing is at this point it would have been like it would make more sense to me if they just picked a random name and didn't know about Daisy, because like she doesn't act anything like the game version, so why would you even
Yeah, I don't
name her
even know
that if
much
that
about
doesn't
like the
line up?
game version of Daisy since I haven't
She
played
doesn't
Super
even do
Mario
much in
Land.
like Mario Land.
Yeah,
But like I don't know.
she's mostly just in the Mario spin-offs, it seems.
Yeah, honestly, if we're talking like prominence, this might be her most important thing outside of like Mario
Yeah,
Land,
that
which
is
is
kind
kind
of
of funny
sad.
to think about, but it's true.
It is pretty sad that this like thing of all movies is like that. And like it
Also,
just go on.
yeah. So there's another thing about this movie quickly is I just this is a subjective thing. Just kind of gross for me to look at sometimes,
Oh
like
yeah.
slime and
Just
stuff,
the gross
like all the
fungus just looming
oh the
over the
fungus. I hate
yeah,
looking
it's
at
like the
that. That
friggin'
makes
twist
me
that apparently for some reason Daisy's dad, who was like the king of the place, turns out to be like this fungus that was de-evolved because Bowser just has this de-evolution ray that like de-evolves people.
so
It's
weird.
so
I don't
weird
get.
and it's so uncomfortable. Also,
Yeah.
Yoshi's in this, and he's just
Well,
a
I was gonna bring that up.
regular
Yeah,
raptor.
Yoshi.
He's just a
But
regular dinosaur. Like, how did they
yeah,
turn
that
Yoshi, probably one of my favorite and most like adorable Mario characters, into like this? I think they try to make him cute, but he's just creepy. Honestly,
I
just the
think
way he
the
moves is
way
so
he moves
unsettling.
is just like it doesn't
Yeah,
help it.
he's just like a
Technically,
normal dinosaur.
I can kind of see why they tried to do him practically because like at
Yeah,
the time all we would have had is like early 90s CGI and
this
that
was
wouldn't have been
somehow
even
yeah,
more
it would have been
nightmare
just like
fuel.
cheesy
Like it
CG.
would have just looked weird.
Yeah, and
Which I
there's
mean it
some
obviously
CG in
does
the
either way,
climax.
but
There's some
it's
CG in the climax, including like the very uncomfortable transformation, like when Toad is turned into a Goomba, and then like
uh,
accompanies Daisy, I guess. I still is there a reason to why they used Daisy instead of Peach? Because that was just a weird
I
decision to
would say
make.
it's because Luigi and Daisy get paired and things, but like we said, that wouldn't have even been a thing until like
Yeah.
spin-offs
And
years
yeah,
after this.
true. And Luigi
Oh.
is honestly Luigi has more of like an arc than Mario, which was kind of weird because Mario's just along for a ride, and even then Luigi
It's
doesn't do
weirdly
much
more of a
either.
Luigi focused movie. Mario's just kind of like
Yeah,
it feels more like Mario's tagging along,
he's
honestly,
just
because
tagging along
Luigi
on
has
the
like the
journey.
character arc and the love it. Well, Mario
He
has a
doesn't
love
really
interest too,
Luigi
which he
doesn't even
gets
have much
nothing.
of a character arc. He just wants to save Daisy because like they fall in love, even though they like don't have much chemistry. But honestly,
Yeah.
that is the least of this movie's worries and troubles as a whole.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't know. This is such a weird movie and weird depiction. Like, hey, let's make a Toad this drunken guitarist, which is just the weirdest decision to me in this movie. Yeah. Oh, also,
Yeah.
apparently, Dan Castellaneta. I definitely, I think I said that wrong.
Castellaneta.
Yes, that
Okay.
narrated this movie. So Homer Simpson
I noticed that on
narrated this.
Letterbox. I
Yeah,
couldn't tell that was his voice, but
same. I'm just
it's
reading it off Letterbox right now. Apparently, he was the
huh,
narrator of this movie.
interesting.
So Homer Simpson narrated this movie. I wonder if he regrets it or not.
Eh, he
Yeah.
probably got paid a good amount.
Yeah, okay.
But
At least
okay.
everyone got paid in the end, even though it was probably a pain on set because no one knew what the fuck they were gonna do with this movie.
Uh,
So they just thought of the
yeah.
most like gross and dumb ideas you could think of with a Mario movie, and they just made this like mess of a film. Almost fascinating of like how like just of all the baffling decisions they have made to put this thing together. You know?
Honestly, even though I hate this movie, I kind of want to know more about like some of the behind the scenes.
Yeah, I just heard that
Not
box
even just
office.
like set stuff. I want to know how they came up with this
Yeah,
like
I
idea
just
for it and
heard that like there were
everything.
a lot of different conflicting ideas, and it just molded into this thing,
Which I
and
mean that
everyone
does make
like
sense
hated.
because this movie is weird tonally, so I can see
Yeah.
that.
I wonder what the writers were on, and I wonder what the actors were on, because apparently Mario and Luigi got drunk on set, because I heard something about that, because they hated working on this movie, and they probably just want, and they really seem to want to forget it now. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
No.
y-
Uh.
yeah, I mean, like, yeah, anyways, yeah, rest in peace, Bob Hoskins, I guess, so I bet he's, like, Wonder what he thinks about this still, even though he's dead. Wonder what John Leguizamo thinks though. What is he? How does he look back on this movie?
I hope he looks back fondly, but I don't. I doubt that.
No, probably,
And
probably
any
not.
last notes on this? Because I've covered my ground
Yeah,
pretty well.
same. I think like we covered everything of like
Uh,
it's
to,
obviously a bad adaptation, and even as a
yeah.
movie, it's just simply gross and
It's
weird.
stupid either way too, because how everything works
It's
with
just how weird and dumb the concept, and it gets
yeah,
even worse when you apply it to the characters. I forgot to mention, and we didn't bring up much about Bowser, but he's like this evil
yeah.
businessman. Like he
Bowser is the
voiced by
one thing I kind of like about this movie. Denner's okay. He
this.
sucks, but I kind of like Dennis
Yeah,
Hopper's
yeah. There's a
performance in
scene when
like
he
an
just like
ironic sense.
turns people into a monkey. He turned
Yeah,
some.
and says monkey very
Yeah.
excitedly.
Also, another weird thing that doesn't make sense is that, like, in the opening, we see Iggy and Spike go through, like, the world dimension. But I guess, but, like, Mario even points out, like, why can't Bowser just go through, like, the portal, like, if he wants to escape the world? And then they say something like, the portal, like, only recently opened to, like, I don't know, some plumbers, like, downstairs, like, the sewer fixed it or something, but like it still doesn't answer the plot hole of why Bowser can't just go through the portal now. Like why does he have to merge the dimensions? Like he could probably take over the world. Like he has this advanced technology that can devolve people into freaking monkeys. You know? That was weird.
I don't know. It's stupid.
It's a dumb movie, so yeah. I don't think I have anything else to say to be honest.
The one other thing I have to say, I don't know if this was you. Some of the music choices were kind of weird to me. At least that one song that they like played a couple times. I don't know. Did you notice anything? That might just be
I think
me.
I might remember like a weird track. I don't really
Yeah, that
remember.
that was weird. But
Yeah.
other than that, yeah, this movie sucks. I don't entirely hate it, but I don't get much enjoyment out of this movie. It's too off-putting for me to find it
That
unironically
is fair. I
enjoyable.
find
Like,
some
like
parts
well, not
ironically
unironically,
enjoyable.
it's not ironically enjoyable,
Yeah.
and unironically, it's terrible as an adaptation and as a movie.
It's
So,
definitely awful as an
I can
adaptation.
respect ironic enjoyment of this movie, but if you tell me it's unironically good as a movie on its own, no,
It's
I
iron.
can't
Some
with
of it is
that. No.
ironically funny, but it is still an awful movie, and I don't blame anyone for hating it. And Nintendo basically wanting to completely forget it. So yeah, I'm
Yeah,
giving
yeah.
it. I might lower my rating, but I'll give it a 3 out of 10.
I'm gonna give this a 2 for now. I think better, one of the better twos we've covered on this podcast. But yeah, I'm not into
Still
this at
probably near
all.
the bottom of in terms of like
Yeah, this is
standalone
one of the
movies,
actually
not
looking at
counting
my
any
list,
of the 2022 releases from our
and
last big
not obviously
video.
not that. Actually, looking at our podcast list, this is one of the worst things we've talked
Yeah.
about. But
Yeah, also, you know how I mentioned like at the end of like last episode, I think I should address that we would like be
uh
planning a bigger one. But at some point we were gonna do something like bigger, like a two-part movie thing, which I won't spoil, but like we'll do it at some
uh
point, but like long story short, busy, I guess, so we just decided to do this instead because we knew that the Mario movie was releasing this week. And we thought it'd be
yeah,
fitting
okay.
just to look back at
That'll
it.
happen when it happens. I don't have
Yeah.
any control over this. He does everything
I mean,
when it
yeah,
comes to
I
well,
kind of organize a lot of the podcast dates. He kind of just like
yeah.
helps with some of the editing here sometimes, some stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like he helped with the timestamps of last video,
Yeah.
so respect to him
So
for
you didn't have to look very hard for them. I made it
yeah,
easy for
yeah.
everyone.
So
But
yeah, thank him for
yeah.
that.
All right.
Anyways, yeah.
So you want to move on to the Illumination movie
Yep.
now, or
Well, that's it. The Mario now. Yeah, let's move on to the film you've all been waiting for. The Super Mario Bros. Movie made by Illumination. We saw it 2 days ago in theaters, and
yeah.
let's talk about it now.
All right.
Um,
So uh,
uh,
the Mario
I'll,
movie
yeah,
is
I'll try and start quickly. So
okay.
we
You can
had
introduce
very,
it.
I think ever since the casting, I was very skeptical, and I think I had a right to be skeptical in a lot of ways because this was like because Illumination making a Mario movie with Chris Pratt, like these high celebrities that I feel like would not fit well with these characters. and I kind of take that back with the film because I tolerated most of the casting, which I think that's worth discussing. What
Okay.
did you think of the casting?
Okay.
Like
So
in terms of
personally,
execution?
here's the thing. Here's the thing with the casting. I don't think Jack Black is the only one who like is actually good as
Yeah,
like
he fits
trying to
like
sound like the character. He actually is the only one who's trying to put on a voice.
yeah, I
The
think
rest
he's
of
like
them are just doing
most
their normal
uh-huh.
voice.
I think he's
But
most faithful.
yeah.
I'll let you continue saying. I just want to
Yeah,
quickly.
but I will
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
even though he's the only one who tries putting on a voice, I do think the other like some of the other actors work well, even if they're just doing their normal voice.
yeah.
Like I
Like
like
Charlie
Charlie
Day.
Day as Luigi. Yeah, I like his
I
performance a
think
lot.
he like
Uh,
remains consistent with his voice and like fits the like attitude of Louis of the character. Also, unlike the last two Mario movies, there is now so much more source material to adapt. So like now we're not going to get these like weird interpretations with
yeah,
it. So
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Weirdly enough, I think I mentioned this in my letterbox review that I wrote for this movie that you can read kind of, but I'll probably summarize my thoughts in this discussion anyway. But basically, I think from everything I know about this movie, it seems as if it was trying to be a course correction from the 90s Mario movie as much as possible. Because, like we covered with that movie, it is very much not a Mario movie. They didn't even try to do the Mario story. The closest we get is just character names being similar. They are not the same
Yeah, this is
movie,
like the
like, as like
opposite.
really. But then with this, the whole like conceit of it, at least to me, is like that's what they were like going for.
Uh-huh.
Is it just it's trying to be as close to the games as possible. You have all the everyone looks like they should. There's a bunch of references to the games, whether it be through music or through background shots
Yeah,
or
like
through plot
the
points. It's all just referencing the games. And I will admit, as someone who has played a lot of these games, I can appreciate those aspects. But if you
same.
take that away, I don't think this movie has much. It is
Yeah.
very, very bare bones.
Yeah,
The-
I'll admit that. I do think the story of this movie is very lacking, which I'll get to later, but I think it's worth like yeah, I think the animation is great. I'll just say that. Illumination
oh yeah,
has had
definitely.
very like lame and safe and just bad character designs in their animated movies, but they have stepped up to make this like visually appealing, just straight up gorgeous movie from like how like the colors pop, the world looks beautiful and vibrant. It looks like it works well. It's colorful. It's neat. It's visually done well. There's a lot of attention to detail with the Easter eggs. Like certain parts of it, I think like work well. Like they. Oh yeah, spoilers. Big spoilers. Yeah, we're gonna spoil a lot of
Hmm.
this.
There's not a lot to
Yeah,
spoil in
this
all
is in
honesty, like
theaters.
story wise,
Yeah,
but yeah,
this is in theaters, so there's like some people have probably not even seen it yet. So spoilers, be
yeah, that's
aware.
true.
So yeah. Anyways, they played the DK rap at some point. I liked that. I like how the like
Yeah,
Mario and Luigi's like rival in the opening, like he has like the hat that says Wrecking Crew. That's a nice little detail. Luigi's phone ring is like the GameCube logo. That's nice. I noticed
yeah,
little
I
stuff
noticed
like
that. That was
that.
the detail I
Yeah,
liked.
and I'm not even I didn't even own a GameCube. Yeah, I still like
Yeah,
I remember hearing that and I actually saw something about that and then before going into it and I was like, wow, that's a nice detail
no,
to see.
I didn't notice that, but I like recognized the theme. I was like, it's the GameCube theme, the GameCube,
Yeah,
and like,
just like effort put into it, and the action is also great. Like there's a lot of attention to detail. It's all like coordinated and like storyboarded like a Mario game, and it looks really cool and it's very entertaining to
yeah,
watch. It's a fun movie,
appreciate that.
just for
But
the this
yeah,
these aspects alone make for a
yeah,
for an entertaining experience. And it's
yeah,
overall nice to see like they do a good job at just bringing these characters and world to life. But I
yeah.
have to be, but yeah, and like I said, the voice acting I'd say is mostly good. Like it's all right. I
I'd say
think
the only one, honestly, okay, so the only ones I was really against were
Chris Pratt.
is okay, Chris Pratt. It's not even that he doesn't do a Mario voice. I don't mind
At
that
this
at this
point, I
point. I
kind
kind of
of
accepted that.
understand.
It's not like his voice isn't like consistent throughout the entire thing, and also he's
Yeah,
just like I don't know. He seems like the least like passionate in terms of
I
line
know.
deliveries.
Yeah, I
Like I don't
noticed
know.
that. Like, it feels like at
He kind of
points,
feels like he's phoning it in, if I'm
yeah,
being
at
honest.
time
For a
he
good
delivers
portion.
certain lines okay. There are times when I understand what he's going for, but then he just switches it. One minute it sounds like Chris Pratt, one minute it sounds like a Brooklyn accent, one minute it feels like he's trying to do the Italian accent. It just keeps flip-flopping. And it's not
And it's
terrible.
funny because he kept saying in pre-release stuff, "Oh, wait for the movie.
Just
The
wait, you're
voice is
gonna be
different
blown
there."
away.
And
Even
then literally what he was
Illumination
doing
said
in the
that.
pre-release is just his voice in the movie.
It,
It's so
it's like not a bad voice. It's not like as bad as the trailers made it out to be, but it still isn't good. And I think it's like probably like the weakest performance in the movie compared to like stuff like Jack Black and Charlie Day, which I think ended up working well. Like Bowser, I think like Jack Black nails the type of character with him. Like he nails the type of like this guy who presents himself as this like threatening evil tyrant, but has like a sweet side with him just wanting to marry Princess Peach and just want to find love. I think
yeah, no,
he
I
does a good
find all
job
that
with
stuff.
that.
I think like my main criticism is that like they go a little too far in the other direction where sometimes he's not like shown as that menacing. They do it at the beginning and during the climax. For like a good chunk of it, they kind of just cut back to him to do like a quick joke and they'll leave again. It's funny, but I don't know. I think it's a little like
That's
wasn't
fair, but I
fully
didn't really
into
mind
that.
it that much.
But
I think it was
yeah,
just funny.
honestly, some of it, oh yeah,
I like
keep
his
going.
villain. I like his stupid song about. I like his stupid piano song. Like it's just like it
Oh
just
yeah, the
shows the character really
great
well, and it was
song,
just generally
Fire.
it's a fire. What a banger. It's funny. It was funny. He's the funniest. Every scene with him just felt funny and very
The thing is,
natural and
I think
performed.
Jack Black is the only character in this that made
He
me laugh
works.
because he.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
the thing is, like, the movie isn't unfunny, and compared to a lot of Illumination humor, we could be doing way,
Yeah,
way,
way
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 worse.
worse.
But also, it's like it never really made me laugh nor like groan either. I was kind of just there
Yeah, but
for
I
a
did
lot of it.
laugh at Jack Black's
Ju-
parts. Those were the best part of the movie.
Yeah,
Jack Black as Bowser was great. He was one of the best parts of the movie.
yeah. I
And
think he is like I don't want to say he carries the movie since there's other positives, but he is like
yeah,
definitely a highlight for me.
And
He's
Anya
great.
Taylor Joy and Keegan Michael Key also did decent jobs with Toad and Peach.
Uh,
I think from the variation that they did with Peach, she worked well for
I
that.
think they were both serviceable. Toad just doesn't get much
Yeah,
throughout this
Toad does
movie,
not do
really.
like barely anything in the movie. It's weird because here, let me say my biggest issue. Now, this film has been getting pretty divisive reviews, like I said. It's gotten like a lot of people have gotten mad that critics on Rotten Tomatoes don't like it. But honestly, after watching the movie, if they're not Mario fans, I can, since I'm assuming most of these people probably aren't, I can kind of understand because like let's be
Like,
honest, if
so
you
I
have
understand the critic score completely, if
yeah,
I'm
and I
being
think like
honest.
people
It's
should
like,
like, I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes for like the system with it. I think we've mentioned like it a couple times before, but like in this case, I think it's like I can somewhat understand why some critics may not like it because one like a lot of people are saying critics are wrong all along because of the Mario movie. Critics are being mean and too hard on it. And I mean like I could understand like getting mad about that, but like at the same time, I feel like after watching the movie, if they're not fans of Mario, I don't think they're going to get the same experience as you because they're going
like
to look more at the story and characters rather than the cool Easter eggs and whatnot. Because there really is not much to this movie's story and characters if you ignore the source material it's based off of, which is kind of my biggest issue with it. Because like I
it's like
go on.
okay, yeah, so the thing is, I was gonna say, I think it's very obvious why critics weren't a fan of it because when talking about it, the thing that people are all appreciating, because as Mario fans, people are liking because it's a good adaptation of the games, and they reference a bunch of stuff from them. But an average critic going into this, he's not going to care about that because they're all like 50-year-old men who haven't played a Mario game since like 1985, and they're walking in and they're seeing all this stuff, and like if they're not going to care about it being a good adaptation or
Hmm.
whether or not there are like references, all they're getting in it is the story, and like we've discussed, the story isn't
Yeah,
very
I think the
engaging
issue
or
is
like
the
has a lot
pacing.
to it.
The pacing
So
of this movie is way too fast. Like, first off, like they basically in the opening, it revolves around Mario and Luigi being plumbers in Brooklyn, and everyone is told from like their family that they're like not gonna make it out there. So they decide to prove them wrong by like unclogging this major city plumbing issue. So they end up like going down, and then Luigi gets sucked down the pipe into the Mushroom Kingdom, gets kidnapped by Bowser, and while this happens, Mario like meets Toad, and he brings him to Princess Peach, and then like they do this training montage with "I Need a Hero" playing in the background, which I'll get to in a bit with some of those song choices, and then like, and then after that, like then he ends up like they end up going on a journey to the Kong Kingdom, which is all condensed in like a 3 minute montage, even though the trailers made it look like that the movie was going to be like this journey across the Mushroom Kingdom. But it really
yeah, the thing
wasn't.
is, it technically is, but like, thing is, for me, I didn't get much of a sense of like a journey or anything because like
It
it's kind
turned,
of just the whole
yeah.
thing is kind of just Mario set piece to Mario set piece to
They're
Mario
good
set
set
piece.
pieces, but like
And
it
like
doesn't.
they're good in the moment, like they're fun in the moment, but after thinking about it, I don't think I really get much
Yeah, I think like the
out of any
novelty
of it.
could wear off every now and again. And I feel like the thing is, I get it. I think this film does what it needed to do. Like it got the Easter eggs, got the nice details, the nice animation, it got some good voice acting. It pleased the fans. But like I don't think if the it's weird because the Mario fan in me is probably loving this movie. I is absolutely losing it when they mention the DK rap, and when the blue shell does the blue shell thing from the Mario Kart game. You know, that
Yeah.
but the movie fan in me is just all like it's Cause like I feel like
And
if
it's
you
weird because I think out of a lot of people have seen this, I got like a lot of the references like out of stuff, but like for me, that's just not enough. Like I can, and like I will say to give credit, it's not all like obvious references. It's not like stuff from the 8-bit and 16-bit era of Mario that like all the
uh
40-year-old men in the audience that are seeing it with their children are gonna get. They do go more obscure and more recent. Like they reference Odyssey and like
yeah, like
3D World
I
music's
remember
played.
the
I
part
appreciate
where
that.
yeah, I remember the part where Toad introduces Mario to the Mushroom Kingdom, and you like can hear the Odyssey theme. Like that was cool. I like
And
that.
no, I remember that. Yeah. It's like I don't know, but even like ignoring what was I gonna say? Yeah, even like that, like I appreciate that stuff, but as an actual
Huh.
movie, yeah, there's still nothing to it,
Yeah, if I wasn't a
honestly.
Mario fan, I probably would just be kind of bored and would probably just not really like this and see it as like some of the usual typical kids film
The thing is,
stuff.
I like this movie, but I don't
It's
think because yeah, they
enjoyable for what
reference
it
and I
is. I
appreciate it,
enjoyed it.
and if anything, I can. This is kind of all it like I expected it to be going in because like
I just thought there would
all
be at least more to the story and characters, at least.
I don't know. They give Mario an arc technically, but they never give it enough
They
time to like
establish
actually let
it
it
at
set
first of
in.
him like being tired of like not being able to achieve stuff, but it isn't followed upon till the end because there's barely a journey, which is a big issue because the characters like I thought they established this nice trio between Mario, Peach, Toad, but they never work off each other. They never given a chance to form dynamics, work off each other. There's barely like any like deserved emotional beats between them. Like we hear Peach's backstory of her just showing up in the Mushroom Kingdom one day, which is not really developed upon that much. And there's also like Toad who barely does anything. Like at first it's established that Mario may not be the biggest fan of Toad, might be a bit annoyed by him, but then he ends up like warming up to him by the end of it. But that doesn't end up happening because we don't really see them interact afterwards. So that was just kind of rushed.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's like another thing, right? Is because like I feel like Mario doesn't really have a chemistry with anyone, and
Yeah,
then
that's true. Like he
he has a
doesn't
dynamic
really.
with Luigi that's fun, but they're
Because
separated for most of
yeah,
the
but like
movies. You
yeah, we
can't get
don't
anything out of
see
that.
the issue
Then
is
like
they established that dynamic well. They established that like in a decent way. But one, they the issue with this is they never like we don't see much of them together, and he's not in the movie enough for me to like really get hit that hard with like the climax. The climax, I have fun with the climax. I have fun because it's nice seeing all these iconic characters come together, beating the crap out of Bowser. I thought that was fun, but like from a story standpoint, I feel like there isn't really much build up to Mario and Luigi like becoming getting the superstar and beating the crap out of Bowser. Like it's because Luigi, they kind of establish an arc of him learning to become less selfless, but he's barely in the movie, so like there's no progression with
Luigi,
that.
like you get cuts to him in Bowser's castle like sometimes, and then a lot of it he's just in a cage, so you barely get
Yeah, it's
any of
kind of
that
disappointing.
for
Like I
the
thought he would at least try to escape with like the other prisoners, but nope, they just sidelined him completely. And it's weird because I like the relationship between Mario and Luigi in like the games
yeah.
and stuff.
If anything, I was honestly into like the first like 15, 20 minutes more than the rest of the movie because like I like this stuff at the beginning with like them running their own like plumbing business to like
Yeah,
getting
it's nice.
started
Like
on
it's a
their
nice
own.
like start to it
Yeah,
all.
I'm not into the whole slapstick scene with the dog, but other than that, I like enjoy the beginning. And then after that, obviously that's what not, that can't be what the movie is. It's a Mario movie. Then when they go into the sewers, they're like, "Oh, yeah, the pipe," and then of course that connects them going to
Yeah, I
the
think it's
Mushroom
like they
Kingdom and all
establish
that
a
happens.
nice relationship between Mario and Luigi, but we don't see it enough to the point when I could get that engaged with it. Like I know Mario and Luigi, I like them in like games and stuff, but like I feel like I wanted to learn more about them in this movie, like expand upon the traits that we have been given to them in the games. That's what I think a video game adaptation should do well, because while this movie like adapts like everything that I think it needs to in order to satisfy the fans, I feel like it doesn't like expand it all into the point when it suits like an engaging story and characters, which is something I kind of was disappointed to not see, and which is like what holds me back to like it as much as some other people do. And I understand why people like it. I get giddy and happy and like of the references as well. I like them. They're incorporated well and aren't like in your face like some other movies. They work well and are done in good taste. But like in this instance, it's like I don't know. There just isn't much with the story, and like I said, the characters are never really given much of a chance to work off each other. I swear, I mentioned this to you, but Mario has more of a dynamic with like Donkey Kong than he
Yeah,
does with like freaking Peach and Toad.
honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I enjoyed some of the Donkey Kong stuff more than like Mario and Toad or Mario and Peach interacting.
Yeah,
It's
but
like
yeah, it kind of like comes out
I don't
of
know.
nowhere. It feels, but
It's
like
weird. Honestly, I didn't mind Seth Rogen in this movie that much.
he
Okay, when he
was
does the laugh, I don't like that. That's
some lines
distracting.
I thought were like kind of a bit annoying, but he was serviceable in this. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can
like,
understand. Like they like have some sort of interaction with each other between Mario and Donkey Kong. Like with them saying that they like have like just sharing about their troubles in life. But like that just gets glossed over because the movie moves at like lightning pace so we can get to the next action scene. Like it just moves really overly fast and feels like it could have established the characters better. And like the film just has overly fast pacing. And I feel like just give more time to establish these characters properly. And that's like what really holds me back from liking it as much as some other people do. And like being I don't know. Like I understand if you're a Mario fan, you're gonna love this movie, but like I wanted a more of a story and like character expansion with it. I expected at least more with that. And they came up with it. Like I
yeah,
was
yeah.
happy for the majority of the movie. I had a smile on my face every
I
time.
enjoyed most of this movie, but like, I don't. Realistically, I don't think I can like revisit this at least like anytime soon and get that much out of it.
Besides,
Like,
like because like at the Easter egg, it was really cool to see them at the first viewing. And like I said, there's a lot of other unironic aspects that I really like, such as the great animation and world looking great. Jack Black
yeah,
as
and but the thing
Bowser
is,
is
I think
also
most of
good.
that
Stuff
stuff
like
that I'm
that.
praising isn't coming from the actual movie itself. It's coming from outside aspects.
It's usually it's a lot
Oh,
of technicality. I can't really compliment much with the story. There's a lot of like little details and nice things. Like I noticed a lot of people have been given like interpretation for like the scene where Mario is like performing like that obstacle like course, which is like a reference to Mario levels and stuff, and like how despite him not like like not being able to beat it, Peach takes him on the quest anyway because it's like the more you try, the more you improve. It's like a video game. That's a nice little detail,
yeah.
and like I think they didn't have to do that, and it's like it's not that expanded upon, but it's a nice little message and detail that they get across decently well without hammering it into your face. So I like that little detail. I like just stuff like that. Also, I think while I think the score like worked well in terms of like how they integrated certain Mario sound effects and music. Also, I forgot to mention in the anime Mario Bros movie, they do the sound effects like a lot, like a lot. This film does it
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well, but not like as like in your face like every 5 seconds.
yeah,
Like that movie did it a lot, but
yeah.
this had a nice balance of that. And
Hmm.
I think like yeah, so yeah, but I feel like with certain pieces of music, like the licensed music, like they played
Okay, the licensed music, yeah, I'm not into that at all.
yeah.
Because, like, I'm pretty sure you know about this. They weren't all the licensed
Yeah,
songs.
there was
They
composed
had
music
original
to it.
music planned for those scenes, but like they just didn't use them for some reason. Which that is the only thing in this movie that feels like a typical Illumination move,
It
where
does
they're
seem
like,
like an illumination thing to do,
they're
to
like,
be
oh, we
honest.
have actual night, and it sucks, especially in this case, because I don't know if you've listened, but some of the music they were gonna put in those scenes is really
Yeah.
nice. They get like, especially the one where they're arriving to
Kong
the Kong
Kingdom,
place.
yeah.
They have like the really nice remixes of all the Donkey Kong themes. It all sounds really
Yeah,
nice.
it's a
And I'm
nice
like, I wish I got
callback.
to hear that in the movie. It
Yeah, instead
sucks.
of
You
Take
could listen
On
to the
Me.
soundtrack now, so you won't
Yeah,
miss it
and I
by
mean,
then.
like the songs
Like,
that they replaced certain parts with it, like they played "Mr. Blue Sky" near the ending. They played "Take on Me," stuff like that. They're not bad music, but they just feel like out of place here and there. Like I
I
don't know.
appreciate that it's not modern pop music. At
Yeah, like
least
they just
if
feel
we're
like out
talking
of
about.
place in a film that like consists of well composed and well integrated original Mario music that like a lot of like good attention to detail with stuff like that, which I appreciate. It's
Yeah,
fun.
it's kind of unnatural.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but like stuff like the
no.
licensed music is They also play "I Need a Hero," which I've been seeing a lot of modern movies with
They
"I
keep
Need a
playing
Hero"
that
now.
song and things now, and like,
I think it's
I don't
like
know. I feel like it's kind of
losing the
lost its
impact.
impact for me. It's not
Yeah,
a cool
I
montage
think the
song
most
anymore.
impactful use of the song was in Shrek 2. It was also in Bullet
Um,
Train, and now it's in this movie.
um, and then the regular show episode, excellent. That's
Oh,
one of the
that's
best
a
versions.
show. That's a show, but yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, that's. I was bringing that up because like I've heard that song in like so many things recently that I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I don't know why everyone keeps using this one. It's a great song, but like I'm a little tired of it being
Yeah.
used in
I also
everything now.
noticed that
Like,
Also, did you notice the Charles Martinet cameos? Like he plays like
he plays a
Jumpman,
Giuseppe.
Giuseppe
Yeah.
Jumpman. He also plays Mario's dad, apparently, which is something I didn't
Oh,
really
he does. I
notice.
didn't
Yeah,
notice
he
that.
played Mario's dad, who is Mario has a family in this movie. So I guess that's
I
all
think
right.
that's
I don't
like
mind it.
technically lore established, but they never like
Yeah,
actually
I
like
don't know. I
use
like the
that
stuff in
in the
Brooklyn, how they
game.
established Mario and Luigi's relationship. But like, it feels like they didn't like do much with it to the point. Like, I wish it decent. The idea of what they try to do, I understand, and I think it ends up could end up working well. But I don't know. They just don't take it further enough, which is a bit disappointing. And they just randomly throw in this like baby montage, and it feels like they're really trying to make you care about it by throwing baby Mario and Luigi with that.
But yeah, I do appreciate that's like I don't know if that's technically another reference thing or not. I like they did the actual baby designs
Yeah, I
instead of
guess
just
that's like
like
a nice cameo, but still, it feels a
I
bit like
appreciate that
it
as like a
feels like
subjective
it's
thing,
really
but
trying to like pull out your heartstrings with like the typical
yeah.
baby stuff, you know. But
Mhm.
I don't know, it wasn't like that annoying, but still, I just wish they could have established the relationship even better because I really wanted that ending to hit harder because it was a fun ending. Like I said, if I'm a Mario fan, it was the climax was fun. I could have gone with more payoff to it all, but still. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
like stuff like I don't know, like stuff like I said. I don't know. Certain characters, like I said, could have done more, especially like Toad, because the guy he doesn't do too much in the games himself. But like, I don't know,
Yeah, but
like
I don't know. It's
they
weird because they establish like a group thing that they're gonna go for between Mario, Peach, and Toad, but Mario doesn't really interact with either of the two in any
yeah,
meaningful way
because they
after
decide
that
to
point.
just like
Especially Toad, he just kind of makes like says a line every once in a while,
yeah,
like
it just
follows
kind of in.
along.
He's just kind of all along for the ride. And like
Yeah,
that's a bit like disappointing, you know, because I wanted to see these characters like get a chance to work off each other, but the pacing is just way too fast and like
yeah,
moves
exactly.
at
Like I
lightning
feel like
speed.
it spends too little time on everything. Like
Yeah,
you
it
get
moves
like
way
okay, so
too
you get the
fast.
training stuff, and then they're already gone. And then like it becomes
And then
about the
they just
Donkey
like
Kong stuff
flash
that's like a
back.
couple minutes, and then that randomly becomes about Mario Kart, and then like the climax happens. I
Yeah,
don't
the
know.
scene on
I feel like they
Rainbow
don't
Road is
spend
really well
enough
done.
time on any element for me to actually like fully get attached to anything.
Yeah, they kind
So
of
it's like
they kind
makes it
of
really
yeah.
it makes the movie go by fast because like this movie like it flies by, especially in the theater, but like I don't know, even
Yeah.
still it's just like
Uh,
eh.
they kind of like they kind of I guess they attempt to establish a romance between Mario and Peach. Like they foreshadow them supposedly flirting or something, and
Oh
Bowser
well,
just getting
Donkey Kong just
jealous.
points that out
I
later,
guess
and like
so, but like at the same
it
time, like I understand. I guess I'm fine with them
I
removing
don't
that.
think
I
it's
guess.
developed that well for me to actually like get invested in
Yeah,
it.
they don't.
Like
They don't really. I don't
honestly,
think
the
they're in.
the other characters point out it happening more than it actually
Yeah,
happens. It
they would
feels like
have like no romantic chemistry at all, which is like
yeah.
honestly, I don't mind. I'm fine with them removing that plot point, but I feel like if they kept with it, it could have led to something like engaging because I already care about these characters, but you just gotta expand upon them more. That's all you need to do. But the film doesn't even do that, which makes me like disappointed with the result of the story. So, yeah, despite all our
Mhm.
criticisms, we do not hate this movie. We enjoyed
Oh,
it. It's
if
a fun
anything, I
movie.
kind of enjoyed it, but I just
Yeah,
don't, like I said,
it's a
I don't think there's much for me
decently
to want to come back to it in
yeah,
like
it's an
a bit.
overall decently enjoyable movie. If you're a Mario fan, you're probably gonna love it, alright? I myself enjoyed it. But I feel like I just was looking for a bit more with the story and characters. Like I got what I wanted. I got what I expected to get with like the nice Easter eggs and cool animation. But I just wish there was more to it than that, you know? Like more to it. Like I think I like the Sonic movies better because while those also have their fair share of nice fan service, there's at least more of a story and like characters to moderately be engaged with,
And
which
the
is
thing
why I
is,
have so much fun with the second Sonic movie
Sonic
because of
2
that.
especially, both Sonic movies are kind of dumb, but I can enjoy them specifically because I just find like honestly, I think it's partially just the characters. I
They're
think they're
charming
way
and
more
fun to
entertaining because,
watch.
like I don't know, Sonic and Tails and Knuckles and like even Eggman and stuff. They all have like they're all like entertaining, but like
Yeah,
I feel like characters play off of each other more well in the Sonic movies. And even when dumb
exactly.
stuff's happening, I can enjoy it because I like Sonic's dynamics with like Tom and Tails and Knuckles,
Knuckles,
and
yeah.
then like
I
Eggman's dynamics, and even Agent Stone. Like even minor
Yeah,
characters
they
like them,
even
I just
add
enjoy
new
more.
characters that are
Like
generally memorable. Like we remember Agent Stone, who is just a random character they've thrown in with the live action movies that have now become like a popular character in the movies because of how they established him. And it's like I get to see them work off each other well, and I think they just like they give them more well established arcs that are expanded upon. They're not amazing or anything. The Sonic movies aren't anything amazing either, but like at least Sonic like has somewhat of an arc in the movie that is like expanded upon over the course of the movie and isn't just established and kind of rushedly concluded in the end like it is in this movie.
Sonic movies just frankly have more for me to actually like get attached to
Yeah, and
personally
I'm
because like
more
yeah
of a
they have the
Mario
characters
fan
to
than a
care about.
Sonic fan. I'd say most
So
of
I'd
us are
say
more of
I
a
care
Mario.
more about Mario than I do Sonic,
Yeah,
and
so
like
I don't know if I
and
want to
even
say I
still like
like
as someone who
Sonic.
caught all the references in this, I'm like
Yeah,
eh. Like for me, it just I'm not gonna say it's pandering because I feel that's the wrong word for it. It just
nah.
kind of feels like okay, I like yeah I noticed all the references, but as someone who cares about as someone who cares more about film within games at this point, it's like well what am I getting story wise out of this?
Exactly.
It
Like
just
at this
kind of
point, yeah, like I said, the movie fan of me is not the biggest fan of this movie. It's like, I don't know. I don't really care for it all that much. I don't really like it. But the Mario fan of me is having a blast with all the Easter eggs, the depiction of the world and character. I'm having a blast to the Mario fan of me, which makes me just have very overall mixed feelings about this movie.
yeah I don't know. There's like I will say like by illumination standard, this is like probably their like second or third
Yeah, I
best
think I'm
movie
more of
if
a
we're going by
Despicable
that.
Me guy, but this is easily. I didn't.
Despicable Me 2, I prefer, but that's because I'm
Really.
nostalgic for that movie. You could argue this
I'm
is better,
also. I think
but
this. I think Mario is better than Despicable Me 2, but I'm nostalgic for Despicable Me 2 as well, so that might be another reason. But I think I'm more of a Despicable Me 1 guy, but I think that's because I just enjoy the story and characters more. But I think in the Mario movie, I think it's like I can under. It's definitely one of the better ones since it has like it has a nice depiction of the world. It has it's easily the best looking Illumination movie from a visual
oh yeah,
standpoint.
definitely.
It was nice
Like
to
if
see
we
this on the
had
big
this,
screen.
that's part of the reason why I was scared initially, and it's in terms of the animation because I was scared like the backgrounds would have like sing ass copy and pasted character models. I did not want that at all.
Mm,
Luckily, we didn't get anything like that. I,
yeah.
yeah,
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, we have the pretty much same like compliments and thoughts about this movie.
yeah.
Jack Black good. The song he sings slaps. A lot of the music works well. The animation is good. Uh, and overall, I don't mind the depiction of each of the characters. Like, even though I'm not that engaged with their storylines and like their arcs in general, I don't mind the depiction of them. Even though, like we said, we're not the biggest fan of Chris Pratt's voice as Mario, but he's still not terrible. I guess he's tolerable for most of the movie, but still. I feel like there could have been better casting choices with this, and a lot of people seem to be very divisive about his voice. So, yeah, and I still kind of am. So,
I'm still not huge on it, but it's less about it not sounding like Mario. It's more just as a performance, it could be
yeah.
doing
I
way
also
better.
take back some of the stuff I said. Like, I think I've been pretty hard on the movie based off of the trailers and casting. Like, I honestly take back a lot of the
Well,
stuff I
the
say,
thing is,
some of the stuff
for
I said.
me, at first, it wasn't even just the casting I was scared of. For
Same.
me, I was scared of it being Illumination. Because if you hear Illumination, for me, and when I heard Illumination Mario movie, I don't think I had like the worst assumptions. Because, like, Illumination is notoriously known for being a very cheap studio that doesn't care about what they're like making at all. And then like they like and like I said, they're very cost effective. They try to like reuse a bunch of character models. All their movies are very formulaic. And like that's kind of what I was and their humor sucks too. That's a whole other thing. So like I was expecting that from this, and it was gonna have Mario on it, and it would be really
Mhm.
frustrating to sit through. But luckily, that is not what happened,
Yeah.
which I am happy about. But even still, this is just like
Congratulations,
fine.
Illumination. You made
We've
a
got over.
decently enjoyable movie. That's what I said in my
Says
review.
something about their standard. This is like average, yet it's
Yeah,
one
this is
of
a
the better things
perfectly
they've made.
as a movie. It's really not anything special at all. But as an adaptation, it's good. It's a great adaptation of the world. And if you're a Mario fan, I'd expect you'd love it. And there's a part of me that loves this movie, even though I would overall give it like it would just be like a meh. Overall,
I
I
don't
would call
know.
it a meh movie.
Like
I'm sorry.
I really think if you're not a Mario fan, you don't get much out of
I don't know. I
this.
feel
Like,
like I would if this was I feel like some people have been critiquing this as like a Mario game because I've heard some people say, I mean, it's Mario. Don't you expect? How do you expect a good story? But like, if
and
this
the
was a
things I
game,
agree with that. I think that's true, but that's just kind of why I think Mario doesn't work well in the movie format because
yeah,
we've got I guess we can like kind of get into that now since we're at the very end of this.
huh?
If you can with the 80s one like we talked about, that movie is kind of nonsense and I like it, but as a movie it's not very good. I just find it entertaining. With the 90s one, they didn't even try, so you can't, and that movie's terrible, but it shows you can't make a Mario movie like that. You just can't do that.
Yeah.
And then with this, it goes the formula to a T. It's as close to being a Mario movie as possible,
Uh-huh.
but as a movie, it's still just fine. It's it just kind of shows you can't really do a Mario movie and have it be that good as a movie, except for just references and stuff. You can make an entertaining movie, sure, but I don't think, at least the way they're doing it, the basic Mario formula does not make a good movie.
Yeah,
That's what I've
and I feel
come
like
as a
people
conclusion
defending the
to.
fact that like it's Mario, I shouldn't expect a good story. But like in this case, I think the criticism should remain more prominent and noteworthy because it's a movie. Movies are stories. So I feel like in this they could have like put more effort into making a good story out of this world. Like you already have these established characters and world. You just have to expand upon it. Because I feel like if they just like if the pacing moved slower and was less hyper and fast, if they betterly established the characters and if general there was more of a journey, this could have made for a more engaging movie. But it just
I
wasn't.
think you could have just added more meat to its bones, but that's frankly what they didn't want to do. They
Yeah,
wanted to
yeah.
make a Mario movie where people could just get the basic Mario experience out of it,
Uh-huh.
notice all the callbacks to stuff, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's kind of what I
It-
expected from the Mario
Sometimes I
movie.
feel like I'm being mean when talking about this movie, but I don't know. It's
Yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm being maybe a bit too harsh, but then I look back on my
but no, I
criticisms
don't
and
think I am. The more I think about it, because if you take away if you take away my attachment as a Mario fan from this, what am I getting out of it?
exactly. That's like the
Practically
biggest
nothing.
like issue. I
So
don't think you'd get much out of this. If you're not a Mario fan, I think you won't get much out of this, if I'm being honest.
I
Which
don't
is
think
why
so
I
either.
can
That's
somewhat
why
understand why critics haven't been the biggest fans of this movie. So I don't. Yeah, so I guess that's why I'm not like mad at critics, since I can understand their point of view. And I think like that is probably the biggest issue with it, because I feel like sure, it's nice when you make a good video game adaptation, but I feel like you should also make like a good movie out of it in general. And like you have everything established, you just need to make it into an engaging story, which you just weren't able to do, which was kind of disappointing. And just expected more stuff when it comes to the like video game with like the story, and it feels like there's a lot of passion here, like stuff like like I said, the Rainbow Road scene, this like really like accurately represents the feeling of being on that course in Mario, and it like accurately replicates certain parts like that into movie form, and it leads to certain action sequences like that to be incredibly well coordinated and incredibly faithful to the source material, leading to a fun cinematic experience. And I overall would say I enjoy this movie, and I'm happy like it exists for the Mario fans. And I'm happy it exists since I have fun with it. Like, I wouldn't mind. There's nothing that's really like compelling me to actually go out of my way to revisit it again. But I wouldn't mind either way because I don't know. Despite like my
yeah,
rating feeling like
I
a
don't
bit
know.
harsh, which I guess we'll say our ratings in a bit, since like I think we said mostly everything we've wanted to say about this movie. I think like yeah, it's like there could have been more here. Still, fun Easter eggs, fun movie. It's an enjoyable time. That I'm happy it exists, and congratulations, Illumination, for making a decently enjoyable kids movie that works
Yeah,
for the whole family and works for
yeah.
Mario fans.
Oh wait, hold
So they
on.
did it. They did it. Good for
Hold on.
them.
So
They
one
did
more
it.
thing before we give our scores and wrap up this episode. One more thing about the movie that I just want to make sure to mention. The climax of this movie pisses me off because it's okay. So when Mario and everyone they all go to the they're back in Brooklyn again because Mario accidentally sent everyone down the pipe. Then that causes stuff to happen. Okay, and then when they all come over there, there's like the big fight in Brooklyn, which I was talking to Xander last night, friend of the podcast,
Yeah,
Xander.
he's been on
He
there
mentioned
before.
that that's literally Sonic One's climax in like the city. I didn't pick up
Yeah,
on
it
that,
is.
but it
Huh.
kind of is. The more that I think about it, but uh, yeah. So when you get to that, somehow the city, it's apparently completely like no one in the city is there. It's completely evacuated. It's like
Yeah, that was
empty.
weird.
This big city is empty. This is no one's in any buildings. No one's like reacting to this giant fight going on.
They're
And
just all
then like
hiding
not
mostly.
and then like they don't even say that anyone evacuated or anything. That just like that happens.
Yeah, that was
And
weird.
then right after Mario wins, everyone from the back comes out of their buildings and everything and starts clapping for them. Like, where did they go? What happened?
Yeah,
Where were
I
they
admit that
hiding?
was
Where
weird.
was everyone? That really pissed me off because
I
that's
wouldn't say it
just
like
you
pissed
can't
me
say
off,
that.
but it was like weird.
That annoyed me because like you can't just do that. That's cheating. They
It was
cheated.
pretty
Damn
like
it.
oh dumb.
That
It was like
that
kind of
was
dumb,
annoying.
yeah. It was still a fun climax, ignoring that like
That's
weird.
like my main like actual plot issue, if I'm being honest, like compared
Really,
to other
yeah,
stuff.
like
But
plot hole,
eh,
hole convenient. Yeah, that was a bit weird, but like I think like it was still fun. Like I admit it was a fun climax, despite like I think they could have been more payoff between Mario and Luigi getting the superstar power up and beating the crap out of Bowser. I like them spinning him around and spinning him around, throwing him away. That was nice. Um, that was like a reference to Mario 64. That was nice, even though I haven't really played that much of the game. But still,
yeah.
yeah. What if also there were after credits scene, one being the
Okay, that
continuation.
was another thing that annoyed me. They're doing like MCU ass shit, but with Yoshi.
Yoshi,
Okay, it's gonna
baby.
tease Yoshi coming back. All right,
Yeah, there was a
all right,
lack of
sure.
Yoshi in this movie. Like he was like in
I
there
guess
was
that
like this
explains
one
why the
small cameo when like we saw like a herd of Yoshis
montage when they're
running
just
during
walking
the
by.
montage. Yeah, but like besides that, we just don't see him till the after credit scene, which is a bit disappointing because I love Yoshi. So that means the only time we've actually seen the titular Yoshi in one of these movies, ignoring the herd stuff in this, was in the other live action one when we saw him as a real life dinosaur. So.
Yeah, poor Yoshi hasn't been treated well in the cinematic medium.
Hashtag justice for Yoshi. Hopefully, if they make a
Yeah,
sequel to
okay, Black
this,
Yoshi in SML has been given more attention. Think
maybe
about that.
that's a whole other story for another day. If yeah. Anyways, probably not. Anyways, so yeah, I don't know. I like the continuation of Bowser's song because, like I said, great.
The
According,
Fire song,
yeah, fire
is
song
great.
banger. What a banger! It was probably one of the best scene in the movie. Great.
I agree.
Yeah. Jack Black, great. He was like a highlight of the movie easily. So great movie. Great. I've almost got ahead of myself. Meh. I'd give it like a. I think I've said everything. I'd give it like a 5 out of 10. And I know that's a bit harsh, I guess, but I don't know.
No, I'd say it's fair because, like, thinking about everything about it, I think that's overall like
It's a very
how I
mixed
kind of
bag of a
feel
movie
about.
for me. I can understand why people like it because like I'm also a big Mario fan.
Ironically enough,
So
I think the movie nearly has everything going for it except for an interesting story. Because
and
like we love all the technical aspects, the animation, most
yeah,
of the
except
voice
an interesting
acting,
story and
most of the
but
music and everything. But then when it comes to actually watching it, I'm like, okay, this is
yeah, the
fine.
story itself
Like,
just like holds this film back. Because stories are incredibly important in movies. It's like the entire point of a movie. So like,
yeah, and
yeah,
part
it's
of me
weird.
questions what this film's point is, other than just being like, oh yeah, this is a Mario thing
But at the
that
end of the
happened.
day, I think
Okay.
this is all it really needed to do. So I'd say, yeah, Illumination did it. They made a fun Mario movie that was enjoyed by people, and I'm happy for everyone who's enjoying it. I'm happy for the casting, even though it wasn't it, and I'm happy, and I hope Illumination can hopefully make continue. I honestly
You already
hope.
have like Sing 3 and Despicable Me 4 in the works, so I
Yeah, and,
feel like
and I
it's
saw
not
like there
gonna.
was like a trailer before this movie for the movie Migration, which like visually it looks better than ever like most Illumination movies. Like the animation seems actually stylized, but it seems like a movie. It's just about ducks. It seems, But
I
we'll
feel like
see
it's
how
just
that's
gonna
gonna
be like
go.
technically better than a lot of Illumination stuff, but only because it has a nice art style
Yeah,
and it isn't just the
maybe.
same
I
thing.
don't know. I feel like
The trailer
Illumination.
for the movie is really funny
Yeah,
though. They like talk about all their
they're
iconic properties,
iconic properties such as the
even though
sing.
most of them are like light. Two of them are Dr. Seuss movies, and
Yeah,
some of them are sequel. A lot of them are just like,
equals to generic and lame kiddie movies like the
yeah.
Secret
I
Life of
like how
Pets.
Illumination thinks they have this big brand that
It's
everyone
because of
loves.
all the money they make off their movies that they're like thinking this mindset. And I feel like, and honestly, we're probably going to get a sequel to this because this film is already making a lot of bank for Illumination. And definitely Sonic 2 looks like you're not going to be enjoying the most profitable video game movie much longer because this will probably surpass it very soon. So, yeah.
Mhm.
Enjoy it while hopefully Sonic 2 enjoyed it while it lasted. So, yeah, I don't know. It was a fun movie. Yeah, we said a lot about this. It's probably the one I
Yeah,
have the
this
most
is
to say
this is
about.
I think out of all I think all three of these movies are interesting in how they like tried to do a Mario movie.
Yeah.
This one is the most interesting for me, but all of
Uh-huh.
them have like their different qualities
Yeah,
in
all of
terms
them
of
have
that.
their strengths. I mean, not really the live action one, but a lot of them have their weaknesses, especially the live action one, which is awful.
Yeah, yeah. But
But
even then,
yeah.
like I can see someone enjoying all of these movies, even if
Yeah.
in cases I don't agree. I can see everyone enjoying
Especially
them.
the new one in a lot of ways. So yeah, it's just not really
Yeah.
something we were that engaged with. Besides the cool Easter eggs, despite us also being big Mario fans, believe it or not. So yeah, hopefully we don't poop. Hopefully we don't like derive enjoyment from this, since like we understand if people like this movie. I understand a lot of people's perspectives. At some point, I could even see myself like raising my rating to a 6, but I'm keeping it at a 5 solely because, like we
I think my
stated,
5 is fair personally, but
yeah, like it may
yeah.
come up as low, but 5 is just kind of a mediocre movie to me. And I feel like despite
Yeah.
all the stuff I appreciate about it, a lot of it's just kind of mediocre.
Yeah, I would agree
Overall,
100%.
I think we said enough, and yeah, thank you for tuning in for another episode of Campy Cast.
I hope you
Um,
enjoyed our fantastic Easter special.
yeah, our epic Easter special. Hope you all have a great Easter, and maybe we'll go see the Mario movie for Easter or something. I don't freaking know. I don't know, but yeah, that's that. And
Bye
yeah,
bye.
thank you, and yeah, I think we said yeah. I think this was fun. We don't know which one will be next, what we're doing next episode, but we might try and do the other, like, one we started to plan with other people. We're not sure. You might do something else, but the episode that we have recently planned, like, I like the one that we established might happen in the last episode, will happen at some point, but we just don't know when, but we'll see. Yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. Also, last people what do you think of people calling the Mario movie woke? Think of that. It's one
They're
thing to end it
stupid. We
off.
can move on. I'm not
Yeah, this
elaborating.
stuff with
This is
yeah, it's dumb. It's woke because Peach is strong and not damsel in distress like she is in the other games. And sure, Peach is different, but like I don't know. I didn't really mind that change. Anyways, now we're actually ending it now, and bye bye now. Bye.
yeah.